What's
How
up,
you
Chris? Yeah, I'm
doing?
ready. Go
You've
ahead.
got a clean cut,
Yeah.
clean shave, something. I don't know, man. You looking, John Stone's looking fresh.
She's looking absolutely fabulous, my friends. It's Wednesday. Christian, flux capacitor. We need to get the flux capacitor going.
Getting it.
Yeah,
Oh
get the
my
flux
gosh.
capacitor. It is Wednesday. Once again, we're going to figure out what the capacity is left in the year. What capacity is left in the year? First thing this morning, so we can just keep track of where we are. Chris Johnstone probably has that built into AI. I'm sure I could just text it to me every Wednesday. I just haven't put that, what do
As
they
a
call it?
task
Automation
reminder.
together. I just have
That's
not
right.
put that automation together yet.
That's right.
So, but you know what? I could do that. I could put that together. I'm smart enough, Steve. I've done it. You know, I can build automations now.
Yeah.
Well, you
yeah.
are a Navy man.
That's right. I'm a Navy guy.
Are
Right.
a
So, you know, I'm very
Navy.
technical. You know, I can do automations. Can you do an automation, Steve? Have you ever built an automation in the CRM?
No, but I know how to have somebody on my team.
You
build an
do.
automation.
Of course you do.
So, but I don't know how.
Exactly.
But I've messed with it. But then I realized, I better have somebody help me with this really quick. So,
You know, for me, building automations is kind of like if I get an idea for something, I start building it. I start really
Yeah.
getting like I'm into
Yeah.
it, man. Like I wanted
Yeah.
to do this, I wanted to do that, and then about 75% of the way through it, I'm kind of like, why am I building this? I should just have somebody else be building this thing. You know
Hey,
what I mean?
Well, that goes back to you being a ham radio operator. It's because
Right.
you like to tinker. You like the little, let's dial it in, let's
Exactly.
tweak it.
You know,
it, and you're so good
yeah.
at it.
Yeah. Well, you know, and their
Well,
team
when you
is
got
so good
Chris's
at it.
team, I'm telling you,
I
he
know.
can-
You just click that Zoom button and you're talking to them. They help you right through it.
Yeah,
It's so great. In fact, I got to do that today.
I was
Chris,
gonna,
I
you
miss
know
them.
what? I'm sure you're getting marked as a repeat offender, Frank. Like
Oh,
I'm
I
sure
know.
somewhere
Well,
in
they
the
have-
back end, there is like a repeat offender tag.
He's on the
yeah.
blacklist. He's like, it's Frank again.
I
Somebody
know.
acts like
They
we're
see
not
Frank
here.
logging on. They're like, ah, crap. Who's taking him this time? Yeah.
We
no, I don't
actually
think so.
celebrate them. The
Oh.
ones that come back and keep launching, and then we go in and we check. Did it work? Did it work? 'Cause
Yeah.
We're nerdy
I
like
love
that.
it.
We want to see the campaigns work. So
Because you were so
Oh.
kind, Chris. I'm telling you, you and your team are so gracious. You,
Oh, yeah. They're just so good.
And patient. And patient.
And patient. And good looking to boot. And good looking. There you go.
with a fresh
All right. Well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to get
What are we
started
doing?
like we always do, Steve, because we need people to kind of pile in here.
Yeah.
And by the way, guys, Steve's got a great topic today we want to talk about. This is going to be a really good day. But I like to do the wins, right? Of
Yeah.
course. Okay, here we are. Flux capacitor. What do we got? No, that's not right. Okay, so we got to figure out flux capacitor. What we do is there's 52 weeks in the year. We got to figure out based on how many weeks in the year are left, what percentage of the year based on weeks. So if somebody wants to get that going in the chat, what do we have left in the year? What percentage of the year is left based on weeks left? So you could do that. ChatGPT will give it to you real quick. I need to see it. Plus, we need Kristen to get the flux capacitor up and running in the
I'm
chat.
ready. I just need a number.
We need a number. All right. So if somebody could please go to ChatGPT, or if you could do it on your own based on a 52-week year, you know,
I'm
Chris
getting
is all over it.
36%, Frank. I'm getting 36.
Well, that's what's been consumed, probably, not what's
Oh,
left.
okay.
I want to know what's left in the year. The capacity.
Well, 36 minus or 100 minus 36.
36 would be.
You're like, what is that?
64.
What would it
Come
be?
on, all you
64. There you go. Congratulations. Who got that? Who got that?
Bessie got it. Way to go.
Bessie, congratulations. Bessie got it. 64% capacity left in the year, my friends. Wow,
Yeah.
we're gonna be dipping into the 50s. Pretty.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Oh my God, ChatGPT says 61.5. There's some confusion going on here. I don't know what it is. I think it's a 64.
We've already got a win in the chat, by the way.
We've already got a
Let's see.
win. Who's got the win?
Rudy.
Where do you see it? Who?
Bill Rudy Devers has a win already. I don't
All
know.
right,
My
so
man.
Bill, come on up. We got Bill with a win. Bill, come up, and this is what you're going to do, Bill. You are going to share your win, and then you're going to look around the room, and you pick who gets to share another win. So let's go, Bill. What do you got? Come on, give me the win.
Well,
Oh,
I had a coffee call this morning at 8, and I was talking to this big monster realtor out of Georgia, and my last thing I usually go into is move to, and she said, I have a listing appointment this morning. Can you send that to me right now? I'm like, I'm down with that. So I sent it over to her, and the last thing she said to me, she said, I'm really looking forward to working with you. I like the fact that you weren't chasing me on the call the whole time for the business. So
Nice.
yeah.
Wait,
So
unpack that a little bit, Bill. So was this your very first call with her?
no, I had my VA set up the coffee call, and I called her this morning at 8 o'clock, and we had her call this morning. That was the first time I had talked to her. My VAs had talked to her.
Man, oh man. I mean, I'm saying, guys, that's a good win, dude. That's a great, and I like how I said this big monster real estate. That could go so many different directions, with real estate agents. You know what I mean? Big monster. Yeah. So anyway, gosh, you know what, Kristen? I don't know. Now, Vicky Lasher is saying that it's 61.5%. Now, Michael's saying it's 63.287. Not days, it's by weeks. Go by weeks. I think Vicky might have it. I think it might be 61.5. So we'll see. Anyways. All right.
Frank,
So Bill,
Frank,
wait, go ahead.
Frank, you missed the biggest win that Bill Devers had today is the little sweatshirt that he's wearing. That should get about 10.
Okay. All right. All right,
Hold on, what's he
Mr.
wearing? What did we
Miss
miss?
Skinner.
Yes,
We're gonna
Eddie Skinner?
spotlight it. What is it?
Oh,
Oh, Texas
A&M.
A&M.
Okay. All right. All right.
Pick, Bill. Great pick, baby.
All right. Yeah. Don't hesitate to give your feelings about that in the chat.
Hey, I'm trying to
Any
figure
of
out
you.
how Eddie saw that on his phone.
I know. How
I
did
I
you
can't
see
even see
that?
it on my computer.
Me either.
Eddie, are you watching your phone or are you driving, my man?
He is
I'm
dialed
both,
in.
baby. I'm doing both.
He is dialed in. All right. So,
That's
Mr. Bill, Eddie, always thanks, man. Appreciate you, brother. Hey, Bill, let's go ahead.
Well,
You can pick.
Eddie's throwing me under the bus, so I figure I'd just go ahead and take Eddie here.
Eddie Skinner for the next win. All right, Eddie Skinner. What do you got? Well, give us a win, man.
Hey,
What's your recent win?
2 contracts yesterday, so that was great. And then my wife is a realtor, and so we went out and met with a new couple moving from Austin to the Woodlands area, and he acted like he had a lender, but we got to visit and talk and share our background stories and stuff. And he said, "Hey, I'm going to call you tomorrow." So great, just being available.
I would say that's a great win, man.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. Congrats.
Yeah.
All right, let's do one more. Now it's your turn, Ed.
Uh-oh, let me see who's on here.
You got to look and pick someone else. Great win, by the way. So you get to look around. You know, I liked yesterday. I forget who it was, but she went deep and picked somebody that didn't even have a screen on her. Didn't even have their screen showing. What do you got?
That's a hard one. Let me see here. Skylar. I can't read that. Wetzel? Skylar?
Skylar Wetzel.
Yeah,
Skylar. All right, Sky. What's up, man?
Wins. Let's see. Actually, I've got a lunch meeting with a whale and her assistant on Monday. Been chasing her for 8 weeks.
Nice.
Friended her on Facebook. Messaged her on Facebook. Sent her a text that her hamburgers were burning when I was stalking her barbecue.
Nice.
Sent a messenger pigeon and smoke signals and finally got a hold of her. And I've got a lunch meeting at her office, not this Monday, but the following Monday.
So Facebook, was that your initial approach? Was through Messenger?
No, I had been calling her for about 6 weeks. I'm in Colorado. There's a Facebook page called the Boulder Collective. It's just like a community group for the city and county of Boulder. Somebody had made a post that was pretty outrageous, and long story short, her and I have the same views on the outrageousness of the post. So we were kind of liking each other's comments on the original thread. I sent her a friend request, messaged her and said, "Hey, I know this is totally random, but I'm also a broker here in Boulder County. See that you're a realtor. It seems like we share the same views on some things and thought I should connect." And then 3 weeks later, after 3 text messages, 3 voicemails, she finally answered. And she's done 30 buy-sides in the last 12 months. So she's kind of a big deal.
I'd say that's a pretty good one.
And I did not hesitate. I did not hesitate to stroke her ego when I finally got her on the phone. So yeah, it was great.
Awesome, man. Great stuff. Great wins this morning, everybody. Super appreciated. It's always good to start the day with some wins, right, Steve? Don't you agree?
But love it. Hey,
I
you
love
know
it
what,
too, man.
Teresa?
Yeah.
Let me hear from Teresa Keschner. Hey, tell us about your wins in making calls. We were in the boot camp yesterday, and she was telling me about all the calls. Where you at? I thought I saw you in here.
Right here.
Hey, girl. Hey, talk about your calls. Talk about the success you're having in that. Because you know what was so cool, Frank? Yesterday, we jumped on the boot camp call, and we were talking about it, and she's like just having great success with showing up consistently. So share your win, like calls last week and activity.
So last week I did 204 calls and I'm working my database. And you had stated in one of our coaching classes, call until you meet your number or exceed your number. And I had decided that just the 41 calls per day within that 2 hours was not exceeding my expectations. So I continue to dial, and my average dials are 51 to 52 calls, which gets me 17 talk tos. So I made 204 calls. I talked to 68 people and I received 7 leads from that. But it was all just putting in the work to do it.
I
I
love
just
that.
continued to dial one day and it just each day it got a little better and better. And I thought, this is the number that I need to be dialing anywhere between 51 to 52 or even more than that
Hey,
to hit that number of talk tos.
well, and you know what I love is that you got a number, your goal of targeted closings. Now, have you ever made this many calls?
Not consistently every day for the 4 days in a row, not consistently. No.
Hey, what do you think changed for you? Like, because look, we hear it a lot. It's like, hey, I know I got to be doing more activity, but what shifted for you? What was the difference maker that said, I'm going to do it regardless of how I feel? And what I love too, Frank, we were talking yesterday, and that's where almost fell out my chair. I'm like, yes, because in week 2 and 3, we really talk about when you know the math. You know what Teresa said? She said, I know my number. You remember that yesterday? You're like, I got to call 51 to 53 people to hit my goal. And you know what I thought? She's got a real business. There's no more inconsistency and
Right.
unpredictable. Now, you know what you're doing? And this is what I love. You're stewarding the decision you've already made, because when you know the math, it's no longer, I don't know what to do. It's, all right, am I going to show up? And then that's just a truth serum, a litmus test. So, Teresa, what do you think has shifted for you? Like what's helped you? How did you turn that corner?
I turned that corner by being intentional. And I turned that corner by you gave us a map of a schedule of your day, how to manage your day and not let your day manage you. So I have just decided that this is the plan that I need to use. This is the calendar setup I need to use, and I need to be intentional about it. If I'm going to consistently close 6 to 8 loans a month, that was my original goal. I need to put in the work to get it done, and I'm beginning to see the time that it takes to get to that point, and how long it's taken me to keep that consistency
Yeah,
of loans in the pipeline.
I love it. Hey, do you have a Breakfast Club T-shirt?
I do have a breakfast
Okay,
club.
She
okay,
does.
all right,
Yeah.
just making
Steve's trying to
sure.
give them away today.
Wow.
I am.
Way,
That's
way to
right.
assume the meeting.
I'll take a coffee
I was
cup if you got
bypassing you
one.
real quick.
Well, hey, congrats, Teresa. And
Thank
Steve, it's a
you.
testament to what you've always said. You got to have a plan, right? You got to track, you know what I mean? You got to show up,
Yeah.
and we do want to get in and talk about this. But before we talk about this, I'm getting a lot of pressure from the chat right now
Yeah.
to highlight Skylar's hat. I don't know what's going on with this hat. What is it? Addicted to MMA.
Oh
Very, very
my
cool.
gosh.
Addicted to MMA. Let's go.
What is
It's
up with that? I love it.
so I found that on Amazon. Obviously, it's for mixed martial arts, but I think that MMA and our MMA require the same levels of determination, tenacity, thick-headedness. Um,
Discipline.
and being willing to bang your head against the wall or a fist for 11 to 12 weeks until you're victorious. So
Yeah.
I thought it was appropriate.
If you're getting value from this already, go ahead and tap that like button. It helps more loan officers find content that actually makes a difference. And hey, if staying ahead of the market and learning what's really working in our industry matters to you, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss another episode. We read every comment, so drop your thoughts down below. We'd love to hear from you and know what's working or what you'd like us to cover next. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you here next time. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thanks, man.
It is appropriate.
I just
Hey,
had
and
to-
listen, somebody in the chat said, "Oh, Bill said, get her. Do you have a coffee? One of the cups, Teresa? You have a Yeti? You have one too?
I don't.
Okay, Jen, get her one. Let's get her one of our
Okay,
MMA
well,
Yeti
Steve's,
cups.
I'll give her the victory fanfare music because she won a Yeti cup.
Hey, I'm so inspired. You know what? And it goes straight into what we're talking about today. You know, for us, it goes back to Built Not Bought, which
Yeah.
is a 2-part podcast that Ryan Pope did with me last week. And you know, you and I were talking about it, and all that means is, in order to have a predictable business, it's not buying leads that gives you predictability. It's the activity that produces the right result. And you know, so many times we're trying to throw dollars, and I'm not saying we don't use dollars to grow our business, but it's like, hey, if I could buy these leads and if I could chase these Zillow leads and I could do these internet leads, and it's like you're chasing the unpredictability of a market that is a completely different animal. You know, like we're not Rocket Mortgage, but we are loan officers building significant you know, I think of us like we're entrepreneurs, and here's what I know is that my activity, and then the activity of the team that I bring on, is what produces the predictability and the income. And that's what I love, Teresa, when we were talking yesterday, and you're firing off numbers, and I know what I've got to do, and I know how many calls and how many asks, and even like in the 7 leads. Here's the awesome thing, you know, in Paulina's in our group too, and she's so precious. She's closing 7 this month. Well, listen, her and Teresa are on Call Stars. Well, Paulina got 9 leads, Teresa got 7, and I'm like, well, listen, Teresa, you just put 2 loans in your pipeline because we know the math. Paulina, you just put 2.5 loans in your pipeline because we know the math. And when you know the math based on data, what happens is, and hey, listen, I'd love to ask everybody this in the chat. Tell me this. How many of you feel like some days you're running a business and other days, or I might even say it like this, Frank and Kristen, most days you feel like the business is running you? You know, I was talking to people yesterday and it was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting bombarded with all of this urgent, you know, because Frank, what will happen is when you go from 4 units a month to 7 units a month, there's a different problem. From
Right.
7 units a month to 12 units a month, there's a different problem. You know, Sarah's doing 21 closings this month. That's a different problem.
Right.
And so it's like what happens is, if we're not careful and we're running by ourselves and we're trying to do it alone and we don't have a process, the business runs you. And that's where you run into adrenal fatigue. You're exhausted. And I wonder in the chat, are you running your business or is it running you? You know, it's like, I'd be interesting to see what you guys feel about that. But Frank, you know, and here's what I'm seeing, like, especially in the boot camp, and we're going to do a master class next Wednesday. Jen, maybe you can drop that link, where I'm going to talk about what are the keys to knowing exactly what to do and to build a predictable business. But here's the biggest thing. When's the last time, and this would be a truth question for everybody, when's the last time you didn't feel like making the calls or showing up, but you did it anyway?
Mm-hmm.
You know, just to be real candid and transparent, Monday I had a pretty tough day personally. And it was funny because I had a couple of friends, Ryan and then Chris Milker and some other guys were like, man, you just seemed like something was going on. And you know what was funny? I said, and I'm just being transparent. It was like, it was one of those gut kick days. Everybody have a gut kick day?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like all this stuff was hitting me. And I'm like, oh, okay, just kick me in the gut more. I got it. And it was so interesting because it's so cool when you got a community of people that encourage you. But you know what, Ryan, and then same thing with Chris, it was like, what are you doing to show up when you get the gut kick, when you got a delayed closing, when you thought it was clear to close, or you had a deal that was pushing through its closing this week and you found out it actually won't even close. Anybody have one of those days? Like, I mean, I could go down a whole list of things. And you know what it all comes down to? Discipline is what drives a predictable business, not motivation. And part of the secret sauce of breaking through is having a calendar that tells you what to do regardless of how you feel, Frank.
Yeah.
You know, because, and we say it all the time, leaders lead. And you know what? You get a bad day, but you don't get two. Why? Because there's too many people counting on you. And when I'm thinking about predictability, and you know, nobody wants a business that's chaotic and it's like, oh, 1 month I'm killing it, 1 month I can't pay my bills. Well, how do we remove that chaos? And here's 3 things that I thought about, and we're going to talk about at great length in the masterclass I'm doing next week. And by the way, I'm doing one a month, but this one, the topic this next week is going to be great. So Frank, here's it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. But it's number one, you got to have a clear daily plan. And in week 4 of the boot camp, what I talk about is it's not a calendar, it's a livable calendar. You know, because you got single moms, you got single dads. I was working with someone, and she's so precious. She's out in Arizona, and she's like, Steve, I can't do loan consultations from 2 to 4. I pick up my kids. I'm a single mom. And I'm like, well, who wrote the holy book that said your loan consultations have to be 2 to 4? And who said you had to work from 7 to 5 o'clock every day? What if we built a 6-hour schedule that allowed you to close $25 million a year, which is her plan? And it's like, and what if you could pick up your kids at 2? What if you could be with them in the afternoon and get everything done you need to get done from 9 to 1:30? How would that feel? And so it goes back to having a clear plan. I know what I do on Monday. I know what I do on Tuesday. I know what I do on Wednesday. And you know what else, Frank? Here's the other thing. And we talked about this on the boot camp call yesterday. We actually went about 20 minutes long because everybody had some really good questions. And one of them was this. I'm getting busy. Somebody grab that. I'm getting busier and busier. How, like, what do I say no to? And so part of building a clear plan is understanding that as your business is growing, you're going to have to say no to the good and stay focused on the 1 or 2 things that move the needle. And then make sure you have a great team.
That's got to be a tough one for a lot of people.
What part of that?
Just being able to really bear that down and be able to say no. Like you said, you got to say no to the good sometimes, and then you know what I mean.
Let me give you an example.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to say who it was, but I will give you a real example. We were talking, and it was, hey, I'm running out of time, and I need to see if this is effective. I was talking with somebody yesterday. They attend 2 networking meetings, and it was 8 hours a week. So they do one like a BNI and one's a realtor. And here's what we had to ask. She said, well, what do I feel like I'm running out of time. Well, it's like, well, how effective are the meetings?
Yeah.
And what would everybody say? Well, I'm having fun. I'm networking. I'm meeting people. Here's the question. You know what I asked her? I said, Frank, let's just look at the last 12. How long have you been a part of the groups? And she said, 1 a year, 1 a year and a half. And I said, how many closings can you directly relate to those 2 activities? And you know what it was for both of them?
What?
1 year, 0.
Wow.
And here's what it is. You got a BNI group, 30 minutes to get there, hour and a half to 2 hours in the meeting, 30 minutes to get back. You're going 4 hours.
Yeah.
You know, we calculated the time for those 2 meetings. It's 5 entire 40-hour work weeks. It was a crazy. It was over 200 hours committed to them. And then the real question becomes, well, is it a passion? Do I love it? Like, look, because if you're doing something because it's a passion project and you're not trying to drive traffic, awesome, do it.
Okay.
But if I'm doing it because my number one goal is I want to have a predictable business with consistent closings, then we just got to look at how many did you close? 0. So then the real question is there something else you could spend 5 whole 40-hour weeks and do to get more closings? And I don't mean that disrespect, because when you're in the middle of it, you're like, hey, but I'm going. And, that's where we get tricked. This industry is like, yeah, but I'm showing up at the networking event. And you know what we ended up figuring out? One of them she could probably let go of. The other one is a really cool one. And guess what? It has a ton of qualified agents. You know what the challenge probably is, Frank? Are you being intentional with having a follow-up meeting with the qualified agents? Are you being intentional with having a direct ask for the business? And you know what the answer is? No. Okay, well then listen, let's get rid of one of them. The other one you love. And if you just ask for the business and you're intentional with following up and having a follow-up meeting with them, do you think you could get loans? The answer is yes. Great. Let's put fire on that. You save 4 hours a week. Now you got margin and you'll be more effective and close more loans. But that's where it goes back to number one, clear daily plan. Frank, here's number two. And I know we got 6 minutes. Hey, by the way, the masterclass, drop that in because I'm going to go into some of the math, which I think.
So it's next Thursday?
Next Wednesday at noon.
Next Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just register and you'll get some reminders. It'll be great. Here's number two. You got to track your activity. You know what, Frank? I think about Jared Manley. He's so great. He's in our network. And when he joined the boot camp, his number one thing was, Steve, I got to learn how to ask for the business. And I'll never forget, like on week 8, and he's doing phenomenal, closing a ton of deals. But week 8, the last, like, I don't know, 8, 9, or 10, he put 7 loans in his pipeline because he said, Steve, I actually started asking for the business on every conversation. And I'm just so reminded that part of the challenge is this: we're firing off the hip. And you're naturally good. That's why you're a great loan officer. You're intuitive. People love you. You know how to build relationships. But you know, the problem is you can't, what is it called? I can't go in and self-assess where my business is at because I'm not even tracking the right activity. And listen, there's only 5 things. And in the boot camp, here's the only 5 things you got to track. How many call stars did I attend? Why? Because it tells me how many 2 hours of outbound prospecting I'm doing a week. And that's just a truth serum. How many outbound calls, how many talk tos? But here's the third one most people miss. Out of my talk tos, how many times did I ask for the business? And you know what we find, Frank, is it's like, dude, I'm having all these conversations. Great. Did you ask for the business? No, they know who I am. They know what I do. No, they don't. Hey, and that's part of what we'll unpack it in the masterclass next week. But, you know, so number 2 is we just got to track, and it's not a ton. And somebody the other day was like, yeah, but I don't have my CRM. I don't care. Track it on your legal pad. Just put a dash mark. Talk to, no, outbound call, talk to, and did I ask? And that's it. Yep. That's all you got to do.
You know what, Steve, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but if you're an MMA member, the very last sheet of our tracker is a 1 page that has all the columns already done for you.
Yeah, for
Put
sure.
your check marks on. You can print it or just do it online.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, and listen, let me say this, Ronald. You said, what is the ask for the business? Do this. Go into dailysuccessplan.com. Hey, Ronald, book a time with our team, and we'll give you the top 3 scripts. So happy for you to do this. Yes, it is a free masterclass. I was just looking at some of the questions. Okay, cool. Hey, and listen, let me tell you number 3. And I love this. My sweet friend, I see Sharon Wofford, her and Catherine, her precious daughter, they're crushing it. And this is the one that when I think of Sharon, the 3 things are this: you got to have a clear plan that, number 1, tells me what to do regardless of whether I got gut kicked in the day or not. And I don't mean that to be vulgar, but I'm just saying, like, some days are hard. Everybody's got a hard day. But your plan tells you what to do, not my feelings. I've always learned this: action first, feelings follow. But the problem is most people are trying to wake up and say, oh, am I going to work out today? No. When you've already decided, you're stewarding decisions, like get your butt up. You already decided to go work out, get in the gym. So number 1, clear plan. Number 2, you got to track just 5 things. Number 3 is you got to let go of the hero role. And what I mean by that is it's so easy that all roads lead to us. One of the things we talked about yesterday in the boot camp is this: what am I going to keep doing? Like, what's moving the needle? What am I going to stop doing? Which in my opinion has to be number 2, because you know what happens, Frank? People try to take on more without taking off things. And that's where I hear people say, oh, Steve, it doesn't work. Frank, it doesn't work. Kristen, it doesn't work. No, you're trying to solve the problem by adding more hours. You already don't have more hours. So we have to take things off. And that's what I love. It's like, you know, I've watched Sharon very methodically since October begin to get things off her plate, trusting her team, letting go of the less payoff activities and focusing on relationship building, being hyper focused on asking for the business. Sharon, and then I don't mean to just keep calling you out, Sharon, but I was just reminded, I remember we talked on the podcast, you were telling me My only goal is to get two. What was it? Was it 2 or 4 relational leads a day? I don't remember. It was either 2 or 4. Maybe it was 4. But it was the hyper focus of I'm letting go of all the busy work, and that's what I mean by letting go of the hero role where all roads have to lead to you. The question that you have to ask yourself when you're stopping doing activity is, number one, does it move the needle? And be honest. Well, what do you mean be honest? Did I close any loans from it in the last 90 days? If you didn't, stop it. The second thing is you got to trust your team and empower them. And instead of picking everything up, I'll give it to me. I know we got 2 days. Start saying, what would you need to do to solve that problem? Hey, and listen, like even on your pipeline, and I know we're at the top of the hour, but somebody was asking me yesterday, said, dude, my pipeline's falling apart. I said, well, are you meeting with them daily? And Frank, they said, no. And I said, well, here's the only question you got to ask is what loans are in jeopardy of missing closing? And you determine that by knowing if your loans are submitted 10 days prior to closing date for clear to close. And we go over all this in the boot camp. But I think in order to have a predictable business, you got to have a clear plan. You got to track a handful of things, and you got to let go of what's not moving the needle and what somebody else can do. And so we'll walk through a lot of that in the masterclass next week. And hey, and for our people here too, that you say, hey, I want to talk to somebody about help, go to dailysuccessplan.com. Our team will help you. We're really in a good spot, but we'd be better if you're with us, and we know we can help you. Frank, it goes back in, I know I'm at the top of the hour. Coaching is an accelerant. All we do is help you get there faster. You're already going to be successful. So that's what I got, man.
Well, that was wonderful, man. It was excellent. So here's the thing that's blowing my mind. So this is next Wednesday at noon, open to anybody then.
Open to anybody. Oh yeah. And it's free. Yeah.
So, okay. So that's I'll do it speakable because some might be listening on iTunes or something like that. So it's new MMAmasterclass.com.
I know. Yeah.
MMAmasterclass.com. That's the link that you want to go to. Register absolutely for free.
Yeah.
Get in Steve's masterclass, right? Learn how to build it, not to buy it, right? Which is going to be far more effective and get you to where you want to be far quicker, right? Why would we not register for this one? So, I mean, gosh, man, if you're,
hey, Frank, let me do one more thing. Chauncey said, I appreciate you, my man. Chauncey has been a part of the boot camp. And I do want to say this, if you want to know more about the boot camp, I got a class starting June 3rd, and I think there's 10 spots left. And there's only, I think, Kristen, if I'm not mistaken, this class is only going to have 15. And we've got a handful of people we just put the June 3rd date up, and I think there's like 10 spots left. So if you're interested, go to Daily Success Plan, message Kristen here. She can get you connected, but I'd love to help you with it. So, but it's something special. So I happened to see that, so I thought I'd say something about it.
Good enough. Yeah, good enough. Great stuff, man. Well, excellent, Steve. Thank you, man. It's always,
brother.
Isn't it great to have Steve just...
Hey, well, you know what we're learning? It happens because of the coaching, man. What we're doing, we're all getting better, and it's this constant conversation of seeing what's moving the needle, and that's what's fun. That's what community does.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. All right. Well, hey,
all
guys.
right.
Great stuff today. Thank you, Steve Kiles, and thank you everybody else for sharing the wins, etc. Chris Johnstone, of course, the ladies that are here with us, and all of you. We really appreciate you being here with only between 61% and 63% left in the year, whatever it happens to be. We're glad to have you with us today. So, man, we'll be here tomorrow. I believe we have Owen Lee tomorrow. It's always good to hear from Owen. What's got a lot to talk about, I think, in the mortgage market these days.
Yeah,
a lot of interesting stuff going on there. So it'll be good to hear from him. So with that, you guys have a fantastic day. Today is Wednesday, so it is your past client database day or sphere of influence. Call of gratitude, check in, seeing if they know anybody that needs your help, and encourage them to connect you to them, maybe through a 3-way text, something like that. I hope that was Kristen, what do you think? Good brush stroke on what we do on Wednesdays. Good brush stroke there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. We'll be here tomorrow. So let's go out with Steve Kiles. Why not? I mean, sorry, Steve. Had to do it. Had to do it, my friend.
My man, at least you're not spotlighting me. Like, did we get a spotlight on Kristen today? Come on.
Yeah, no, we didn't, man. But we're going to spotlight you because this is the Steve Kiles.
We're not waiting on anything. We're diligently following up. Is there anything that will prevent me from being?
See y'all later. Adios, my friends. See you manana.
You're shopping around with other lenders?
Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for being here.
My